Hey guys, welcome to the last week of our Seeds journey, our small group journey. And I just want to say, what a series, what a journey. God has driven this deep into the heart of our congregation. And I just want to say thank you for sticking it out, being a part of the journey, planting good seed and good soil in your life. And thank you to our hosts and our leaders and those of you that have opened your home or made space and committed to facilitate these. Thank you. And thanks to all of you who have been a part of this journey. Our church is going to be different because of you and your investment. And I believe and trust you and your families are going to be different. This whole journey has been meaningful to me. The pastoral part, the personal part, leading the church through it. But of all of them, this may be the study and the prep for this sermon, for this particular week, and for this small group may be the most impactful to me. Maybe it's because of my age, but when we talk about legacy, it's starting to ring home more. And I want to say this. I think part of what I wanted to get through in the sermon this week and in this small group is don't wait and start thinking about your legacy when you're old. I mean, the wisdom is you begin with the end in mind. And that's really what this legacy conversation, this is how tomorrow starts today. That's what we've been talking about this whole series, but you got to start thinking legacy when you're young, because your dating life today is affecting the marriage you're going to have tomorrow. Your marriage today is affecting the generations of your grandchildren. The kind of marriage you foster today is going to have an impact on children you won't ever meet, grandchildren you'll never meet, great-grandchildren. There is a legacy that is being left by the seeds that you're sowing today. So you have to start looking at your life, whether you're 15, 18, 30, 40, you can't wait till you're my age or older to start thinking about legacy. And that's when tomorrow starts happening. It changes the way you think about today. I reference a sermon. In the sermon, I reference a passage that was the bulk of the sermon, not in the small group study, John 15. But that's what this conversation is all about. That passage of the vine and the branches. Jesus said, if you remain in me, I'll remain in you. And then he says, it's in the 16th verse of John 15, where Jesus said, I want you to produce fruit that remains, or fruit that lasts. That's what legacy is. But he's not just talking about fruit that lasts until you die. He's talking about eternal fruit. And I think that's part of the short-sightedness of American culture. When we start thinking legacy, we're just saying, oh, well, I just want to live in a way that my family's taken care of when I'm gone. And we're thinking wills, estates, paying the house off, making sure there's college money, whatever. And that's all important. But that's a temporary legacy. What is going to happen after you die? What is going to live beyond you for eternity? That's the kind of legacy Jesus is talking about. That's really what this seeds conversation is. It's beyond the grave. It's beyond retirement. It's beyond your wills and estates and a trust that are going to impact this life. But it has everything to do with eternity. And that's why Jesus leads us into this conversation in John chapter number 4. This may be one of the most famous encounters Jesus ever had in the Bible, that John 4 passage. There's a brief excerpt of it on page 100, but before that little section there, it's Jesus is at the Samaritan well. He encounters a woman there. You remember, he asked her about her husband, and she says, I have no husband. And he said, I know you've had 5 husbands and the man you're living with is not your husband. It's that really tense conversation where Jesus calls her out. But she has an encounter there because her heart is searching for living water. And he says, I am the living water. She has a deep encounter with Jesus. So much so she goes back to her town and she starts scattering seed all over her village and her community. And then the disciples join Jesus at the well, and there are all these people that are coming to Jesus simply because of the seeds that woman scattered in her village based off of an encounter with Jesus. In John chapter 4, at verse 35 through 38, that's on page 100, Jesus is basically saying to the disciples, in my kingdom, you can reap where you didn't harvest. Or you can harvest, you can reap where you didn't sow. And what we're doing right now is we are reaping the harvest. These Samaritans that are being changed for eternity are being reaped right now because of the seeds this woman sowed. You don't understand what's going on here. You're prejudiced. You don't want to be in Samaria. You don't believe we ought to be wasting time on this woman, but you don't understand the kingdom that's happening right now. This Samaritan woman met me at this well. She has sown seeds in her community that are bringing a harvest of multitude of lives. And we're reaping that right now. You're reaping that right now because of the seeds that she's sown. I want you to see the connection, the blessing of the kingdom. We have the privilege of reaping where other people have sown. The lives that are being changed at Northplace right now, we're not the only ones that scattered seed. Some of the seeds that are being harvested right now at Northplace, those seeds have been scattered for years in people's lives. From coworkers and family members and grandmas, and they're just now coming up. They've been laying there for years. We're reaping the harvest of seeds that have been sown, maybe at another church, in a previous location, a children's church ministry way back in their life, but those seeds are just now germinating. I love the way the kingdom works. Some people sow seeds and some people reap the harvest, and we partner together. And if we just stay focused on sowing the seeds, we're reaping harvest. Sometimes we're harvesting the seeds we've sown. Sometimes we're harvesting the seeds that others have sown. Can I just pastor you for just a moment? On my heart, I want you to just, if somehow in this series, in this small group, I can convince one person to realize that everything changes by the thoughts, habits, and attitudes they're planning today. Just one person, this will be worth it all. Like if there's a mom out there right now that's surrounded by sippy cups and animal crackers and diapers, and she's watching the reels on Instagram and all the people her age, and she feels like they're all having a blast and she's wasting her life right now with these kids running around her. She feels trapped. Can I just say to you, Mom, the greatest seeds God will ever entrust into your care are the ones right in front of you right now. And you're not wasting your life. You're leaving a legacy. And invest in that. Give yourself to that. Pour your heart into that. It may not feel like it right now, but you'll look back on this moment and be the best season of your life. And you'll cherish. And I just don't want you to live in regret that you didn't take the time to cherish it because your eyes were looking at everybody else instead of considering the eternal legacy you could be planting in the heart of those kids. They're going to be your greatest legacy. Leverage this time. Don't underestimate your value and the value of this season. If I can just get one mom to understand that, this will be worth it all. If I can get one businessman who's got an opportunity right now that may be the greatest opportunity in the world financially, but that opportunity is going to take you away from your kids, and you're going to miss ball games and strategic moments of their life in order to reach some financial goals that you have, you just have to ask, what kind of legacy are you leaving? Are you trying to leave a legacy that will make everything look right in American eyes, and it's going to rob you of leaving an eternal legacy in your life? If one dad measures those two together and says, yeah, we're going to leave a better financial legacy, but it's going to rob me of investing in the eternal legacy in my kids, and that dad makes a decision to be more committed to his family and the eternal legacy in that family than anything, then this has been worth it all. There are some of you that have access to resources. And I know a lot of people leave their resources to build hospitals and build youth clubs and civic centers and all that. That's all wonderful. But as much as that is meeting a need, it's meeting a temporary need. Have you thought about when you're gone, how your resources can be left to impact eternity? Like, are people going to be in heaven because of how you leave your resources and how you invest them? Jesus in this John 4 passage is trying to get us to think not just about legacy, but eternal legacy. What matters most? Tomorrow is going to last beyond the grave, 10,000 years beyond the grave, and that's the eternity that we're trying to impact. So let eternity, an eternal legacy, be what frames your decision today. Not just setting yourself up for a better tomorrow, that's important. But as I plan for that, how do I plant seeds in my life today, in my family today, in my career today, position my goals and planning and estate so that I am leaving eternal legacies? Let's sow some seeds that leave eternal legacies. God bless.